All right, so let's take a look at these two quizzes because these are review for the test that is tomorrow. So, like I said, the first four problems are going to be exactly like this. They're not going to be any different. They're going to be worded exactly the same. I changed the order a little bit. All right, so like this first one's not going to be number 1 on the test. The second one's not going to be number 2 on the test. I mix them up a little bit, so at least you got to know which one's which. All right, so let's go through this. I got to change this writing thing. Why don't I do that when I first start this? I don't know why. There we go. And let's just change my point size, make it just a little bit smaller. Okay. Okay. So here we go. It says name the point of concurrency determined by the perpendicular bisectors. That was the very first one that we did. Do you remember that one? Seems like it's been a while. It was before the break, before Easter break. So it's been a while. But if you're new to the class, just look at these and memorize them and write them down, okay? That's how you're going to do this, all right? So it says perpendicular bisectors. You remember that? It was the very first one. Remember we had 4 of those? You remember what the very first one was? Circumcenter. If I could write, circumcenter. Just memorize that, okay? So here's what you're memorizing. Perpendicular bisectors of a triangle, you're finding the circumcenter. Yeah, this is the actual quiz that we took. We've already taken this quiz. All right, you've got it back. It was from last marking period. All right. But it is. Listen to me. We are going over the quizzes that we've already taken in here, and the problems on the quizzes are going to be the problems on the test. Except for what? I talked a lot about this before we started recording. What did I say? What's the only thing going to be different? The numbers are going to be, or the problems are going to be the same, except for what? The numbers are going to be a little different, okay? Instead of this being 24, it could be 18, could be 20, could be 30, all right? Everybody with me on that? So the problems are exactly the same, except for the numbers. Instead of 70 degrees, it might be 60 degrees or 50 degrees or something like that, all right? But the problems will look exactly the same, except for the first 4. First 4 are going to be exactly the same, all right? Exactly, except, what did I say would be just slightly different? The order that I put them in, okay? So number 1 on the test may not be this one right here, perpendicular bisectors. It might be number 3, it might be number 4, whatever. Everybody got it? Okay, so this is going to be on the test right here. I will have a problem. It could be number 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's one of those, all right? And it's going to say exactly this. Name the point of concurrency determined by what? The perpendicular bisectors. What do you write? Circumcenter, okay? Then we had one determined by the medians, the triangle's median. So if I draw the median of all 3 vertices, or all 3 sides of the triangle, we call that the centroid. I'm not going to go back and describe and draw it and all that kind of stuff. You can go back to the old lessons and you could see, but I'm just giving you the answers so that you know what they are. All right, and then the next one. Name the point of concurrency determined by the triangle's what? The altitude. So if I find the altitude of each, so if I go from one vertex perpendicular to the opposite side, that's the altitude. All right, that is the orthocenter. Orthocenter. And then the last one, point of concurrency by bisecting the angles. So if I bisect the angles, if I took all the angles of the triangle, split them in half, they all meet at one point. That's what it means by the point of concurrency. Where do they meet? At a place called the incenter. So those are the 4. You got to memorize those 4 words. Circumcenter, centroid, orthocenter, incenter. Don't necessarily, again, for the 5th time today, don't necessarily memorize them in order. You got it? Because it's going to be in a different order on the test. But you do have to know that perpendicular bisectors goes with circumcenter. Know that the median goes with the centroid. The altitude goes with orthocenter. And bisecting the angles goes with the incenter. You have to know those 4 words. I don't give you a word bank. I don't put them on the top that say choose from these 4 words. You have to know those 4 words. Everybody with me? Okay. So, let's keep going. What time are we at here anyway? Forget. Wednesday, CP 15. All right. So, I got 25 minutes. Should be plenty of time. I hope. All right, find the measure of these things right here, okay? So I've got a triangle. This is, these two here are equal. This is perpendicular. We actually have congruent triangles because side angles side. So if this is 5, what is BC? BC is this one right here. We'll just call it X. That's going to be the same exact thing. So 5 and 5. No math involved whatsoever. Okay, the second one, no math involved whatsoever. If this is 70, what's this angle right here going to be? That's going to be 70. They're congruent triangles, right? So if I put them on top of each other, they all match up. This side and this side match up. This angle and this angle matches up. Right? You see that, don't you? Right? You take it, fold it in the middle, fold it on top like this, all right? And they all match up. So BC is 5, and angle A is, what do we say? 70 degrees. Everybody should be able to get that, those two right there. Okay, that's very, very simple. 7's a little bit trickier, but we've done this before, so let's look at it again. This is the centroid thing. Okay, what was the centroid? You found the medians of the triangle. All right. Now we learned something about the centroid. If this is the centroid, the median means it goes from the middle to the midpoint, right, of the opposite side. So I know those two sides are equal, or these two segments are equal. These two segments right here are equal, and this segment right here are equal. But that's not really what we're concerned about on this problem. The problem says if BR is 24, so if BR, so this whole thing from there to there is 24. Do you remember how this is split up? Is it split up in half? Is this point right here half? No. What's the one thing? Neil, tell me. It's a third. The little one. The little one is a third of the whole thing. Okay? And then the bigger one is how many? 2/3, right? It's twice as big. So here's how I would do this. Everybody watching? They give you the whole length. So when they say this is a centroid, the little part right here, this DR, is 1/3 of the whole thing. All right? So what's 1/3 of 24? How do I do that? How do I take 1/3 of it? I just divide by what? 3. So what's 24 divided by 3? 24 divided by 3. 24 divided by 3. It's 8. Come on, learn your multiplication tables. 8 times 3 is 24. It's not the answer. I'm asking you what 24 divided by 3 is. I'm not asking you for the answer to the problem. Okay? I'm asking you what 24 divided by 3 is. So this little bit right here is 8. Is that what they're asking for, though? No. They asked for what? BD, from here to here. Okay? So what do we say? If I know the short part, what's the longer one going to be? Twice as big as the shorter one. Okay? So if this is 8, now you can say, okay, Bree, what is it? It's a 16. All right? So that's 16. So what is BD? BD is equal to 16. Thank you. That's how you do it. And look, I'm going to give you a number that's divisible by 3. I'm not going to give you some weird number that you can't divide by 3 and you get a fraction that's ugly. Okay? I'll give you a number. For instance, what if I made that, what's an easy number that's divisible by 3? Like 30? Okay, what if I made this 30? What if BR was 30? Then what's this going to be? 10. And what's this going to be? 20. Everybody got it? Okay. What if this was 60? If that was 60, what's this little bit going to be? Still don't think I've heard it. What if I said this whole thing was 60? What do I do? 60 what? Divided by 3. What's 60 divided by 3? It's 20. 6 divided by 3 is 2, right? Stick the 0 on the end, so it's 20. So this would be 20. What would this be then? Be 40. Everybody with me? Maybe? Got to learn your multiplication tables. All right, enough of that. Let's keep going. In-center. What's the in-center? The in-center is this one right here. You bisect the angles. All right? So, but there's something that we know. I don't even care about bisecting the angles in this situation. I do know something about those dotted lines. If this is the in-center, what do I know about the dotted lines right here? RP, TP, SP. They are all the same. Exactly right. So, watch this. What do they give you? They give you PS is 3. So PS, that little one right there. Should I make that a little bit bigger? There we go. PS is 3. What do they ask for? RP. So they're asking for RP, this one right there. So what's that going to be? That's also going to be 3. Easy peasy, right? So that would be 3. What would TP be equal to? That would be 3 as well. Exactly right. Everybody got it? All right, so when it's the what? In center, this distance is the same distance to the sides of the triangle. So these little perpendicular lines right here, they're all equal to each other. You just got to remember that about the in center, all right? But it's going to look just like this on the quiz, except I probably won't make PS3. I'll make it another number. But does it matter what kind of number I make it? No, it doesn't make any difference what kind of number I make it because the other two are the same. Remember, it's only the perpendicular ones that are the same, okay? It's not YP, it's not XP, and all that kind of thing, okay? Just those dotted line ones. And it's going to look just like that on the test. I couldn't make that any easier for you. Would you agree? It is a little too easy. I kind of agree with you. I think that is a little too easy. All right, but it's still going to be like that. All right, let's enlarge this just a little bit so you can see a little bit better. All right, here we go. Now we got circumcenter. Do you remember what circumcenter was? It was the perpendicular bisectors. But here's another one that's pretty easy as well. So if this is the circumcenter, we get that by doing the perpendicular bisector. So these solid lines right there, that's a perpendicular bisector. Okay, it's the same way with all 3 of those sides. What am I concerned about, though? I'm concerned about the dotted lines. When we learned about the circumcenter, we learned that the distance from the circumcenter to the vertices, right, to the corners, not perpendicular, but to the corners, to the vertices. What did we learn about those dotted lines right there? What did we say about them? That they are the same length. They're equal to each other. Exactly right. So this one is just about as easy as the other one. So look, if they say PA is 12, so if PA right there is 12, then what is PB? PB is this one from there to there. What is that going to be? That's also going to be 12, right, because they're all equal to each other. I got to click off of here, okay? So PB is also 12. What else would be 12 if they asked you? PC, that's right. That would be 12 as well. Everybody with me? All right. That's super easy as well. So 8 and 9, a lot of these, we got like 4 problems already. You don't have to do any math at all, do you? All right, you just look at them and say, oh, that's equal to that. That's what I'm trying to get you to do. I'm trying to get you to recognize what's equal to each other. All right? What about this? Now, remember I said that the perpendicular bisectors split that side into 2 equal parts? Okay, that's important to understand. It's important to remember. And that's true about the circumcenter. So what's this say? Find AY if AC is 18. Where's AC? AC is that whole thing right there. What's that? It's 18. Question is, what is AY? So what's this bit right there? Super easy. What is it? Did I hear it? 9. Okay, I heard stuff. I couldn't tell what it was. Yeah, remember, it's split in half because this side, or this little segment and this little segment's equal to each other, right? So if the whole thing's 18, that has to be 9, right? That's 9 and that's 9 because it's perpendicular what? Bisector. We bisected. We split that side into 2 equal parts when we did the circumcenter. So a little math, not much at all. What's the math? 18 what? Just divided by 2, all right? That's your math. Right here, did you have to do any math? Nope, so you just say PB is equal to what? 12, okay? Look at that, piece of cake. Where are you going? Really? We're going over this quiz, right? And it's going to be exactly on the test? If you got to go, you got to go. Give it to me. Give me the pass. But man, I tell you what, if I was seeing every single problem that was on a test and I was taking it tomorrow, I'd try to stick around as much as possible. I am putting it on YouTube, but I think you guys have great plans to go and look at it, but I think when you actually comes down to it, very few actually look at it. All right, enough of that. Here we go. Let's do another one. This is the latest quiz that we took. All right? Right? We just took this, last week? Was it last week we took it? Yep. All right, so it should be fresh in your mind. Order the angles in the triangle from the smallest to the largest. Oh, I just gave it back to you today too, didn't I? So you should have it in front of you. All right, from the smallest what? Order the what? Angles. Not the what? Not the sides, but several of you gave me sides. Look at the problem. The problem says order the what? The angles in each triangle from the smallest to the largest. A couple people gave it to me the largest to the smallest. What does it say? It's right there. The smallest one to the largest one. All right? So that's what we got to do. We got to figure out what angles. Okay, sorry. So how do we do that? Well, we look at the sides first. Okay, you do look at the sides, but that's not going to be my answer. My answer is going to be 3 angles. It's going to give 3 angles, and it's got to be in the right order. That's my answer, right? I think we reviewed for this quiz, didn't we? And I think it's on YouTube as well, too. All right, so the 3 angles in order from the smallest one to the largest one. So where do we look? First, we look to the smallest side. Why do I look there? Because I'm trying to find an angle. But I look at the opposite angle. So that's going to be the smallest side. So just put it right there. We put angle C. What's the next biggest side? Is it 12 or 20? The next biggest. It's 12. Okay? Where do I look? I look opposite. Okay? So what's the next biggest angle? It's angle A. And now there's no other choice, right? What's my other angle? It's angle B. But is it opposite the biggest one? Yeah, absolutely, okay? So angle B is opposite the biggest side. That's how you know which angle is the smallest one, which one is the biggest one. Jamarian, come get yours. All right, everybody good? All right, let's do number 2. Number 2 is basically the same problem except what? What's the one thing that they don't give you on number 2 that they gave you on number 1? A triangle, a picture, right? So let's just draw it. Does it really matter how we draw the triangle? Not at all. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to draw some random triangle and call it what? RQP. Doesn't matter where the R is, the Q is, and the P. Nope. As long as they're all on different vertex, we're good to go. Now, let's put in the numbers. QP. Where's QP on my triangle? It's down here on the bottom, so I'm going to make that 15. Okay, you might have made QP up here like this, okay? Everybody understand that, right? So I just might have made it a little different. RP is 20, so RP right there is 20. And then RQ, this one right here, is 30. Now it's the same problem as the first one, isn't it? All right, it's the same type of problem. So again, we're going from smallest to largest, and we're doing the angles. So we have to write our angles. And put the angle symbol. Don't just put a letter there. Put the angle symbol. So what's the smallest side? It's 15. So what is opposite the 15? The R. So R is going to be the smallest angle. What's the next biggest side? It's the 20, isn't it? So you look across from that. That's angle Q. So angle Q. And obviously the third one's super easy because it's the only one that's left. What's left? Angle P. And then that's it. That's your answer right there. It's not sides. Some people were giving me numbers. I had people putting numbers in here. All kinds of weird stuff. All right? It just shows that you really didn't understand what was going on. All right? Hopefully that makes sense. It's a very simple problem. I know. Students accuse me all the time. Mr. Henry, you're always saying it's really easy. You're always saying it's really easy. In this situation, am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. It is very easy. Very, very easy. This one's just as easy. 3 and 4 is pretty much the same. All right? So let's take a look at this one. I got angles this time, right? They gave me sides on the first 2. They're giving me angles on the second 2, 3 and 4. All right? So it's the same idea. So we don't look for the biggest and smallest side because I don't know what the sides are, but I do look at the angles. So what's the smallest? Again, it says from shortest to longest. On the test, there's a possibility that I could make it what? Longest to shortest. So make sure you read the instructions. Don't just assume that you know how to do this. Read the instructions, okay? I don't even remember what it says on the test. I don't have it in front of me, but I could very easily make it from longest to shortest. So make sure that you read it, okay? So again, what's the smallest angle here? It's the 20. What side is opposite that angle? WY. So that's my shortest side. So WY. If I'm writing line segments, what should I usually put on top of it? A little line thing over top of it. So let's do that. All right. What's the next biggest angle? The 40. So where do I look from there? I look across from it. Opposite. Jamarian, you're the only one talking. So you look across from it. So what's the next biggest side? YX or XY. It doesn't make any difference. You could have called that YW, right? And then what's the biggest one? 120. So what do? We look opposite. What's the biggest side? WX. Do not just look at that and assume it's drawn to scale. Now this one, it probably is a little bit, right? Yeah, that definitely looks smaller than this one. That looks bigger than all of them. Okay, but don't just assume that that triangle is drawn to scale. Make sure you just go by the numbers that they give you. All right, it's very important that you do that. So that's my answer right there. I got 3 sides. I put them in order. I don't know, I got a little squiggly on that, but that's okay. All right. Number 4 is basically what we did before. All right, so I'm going to go a little faster because time is starting to run out just a little bit. So I'm just going to draw a triangle. I don't care what it looks like. We'll call it STU, STU. Make one, again, I don't care if it looks like it's 60 degrees or not, but I'm going to make that a 60, I'm going to make that a 70, and I'm going to make that a 50. It's just so that I can see what side is opposite what angle. That's the only reason that I'm drawing the triangle. So let's do it. From the shortest to the longest. So 50 is the smallest one, right? What's opposite the 50? ST, right? The 60 is the next one. What's opposite the 60? TU. All right? 70 is the biggest. What's opposite the 70? SU. And that is how you do it. All right, let's keep going. Everybody got that? ST, TU, SU. All right, it says state if the 3 numbers can be the measures of the side of a triangle. Well, there's a little test to see if you can make a triangle out of these or not. And what do? You go 5 plus 10, and it needs to be what? Bigger than the third side. What's the third side? 20. Put a question mark right here. Is 5 plus 10, is 15 greater than 20? No, it's not. So can you make a triangle with this? No. Some of you guys are getting it mixed up, all right? Some of you guys were doing the math right, but you just interpreted your answer incorrectly, all right? You did the math right, but you just looked at it and said, oh, that's not bigger, so yes, that's a triangle. Nope, it's the other way, all right? These two have to be bigger than the third one. You got it? The 2 smaller ones. The 2 smaller ones have to add up to be bigger than the third one. Does it? No. So that cannot be a triangle. What about this one? Well, let's try it. 3 plus 4. Is 3 plus 4 bigger than 5? Is 7 bigger than 5? Yes, it is. So we say yes, it is a triangle. You can make a triangle out of sides 3, 4, and 5. Let's continue. I think we'll be able to finish this. So let's find the range of possible lengths. I told you very specifically the day we reviewed for the quiz how to write your answer. Okay, I told you exactly how to write it. And I said, if you don't write it this way, you're going to get it wrong. Okay? I'd say the majority of you got this one right. So that was good. I was pleased to see that. But too many got it wrong when I showed you exactly what to do. The math is very easy. You do 2 math problems. What do? You subtract, and then you add. So let's subtract. What's 12 minus 5? 7. Let's add. What's 12 plus 5? 17. So that means our number, our third side of our triangle has to be somewhere between 7 and 17. How do we write that? Now watch. Let's watch. X is in the middle, and what kind of sign do we put here? Less than, less than. That's it. You put X in the middle, put less than, and then you subtract to get that number, you add to get that number. It's that Easy. Even if you don't understand like why you subtract and why you add. Even if you don't understand why, at least just know how to do it for the test. All right. I would like you to know why this is true. We talked about it when we first did the lesson. All right. But as far as taking a quiz or a test, let's just learn how to do it. So let's do this one. What do we do first? Subtract. So what do we get? 2. 9 minus 7, right? Let's add. What do we get when we add? 16. Some people can't add. Some people put 17. At least I remember one person. I don't even know who it was. I just remember somebody putting 17. But 9 and 7 is 16. All right. Now what do? X less than. That's my answer. Let's keep going. All right. Here we go. Last 2. We're right on time. So let's look. Shh. It's too much talking. All right. This is going to be on a test tomorrow. I don't understand why you just think you can just mess around right now. Let's look at it. Let's mark the stuff in there. AB is 5. So that's 5. BC is 5. AD is 8. And DC is 7. So here's what we have. We have 2 triangles. And that's equal to that. I got a side, and a side. 2 of the sides are equal, right? 5 in this one, 5 in this one. But the other 2 sides are unequal. Again, the book doesn't call it this, but this is what I call it because other books do. They call it the side, what? Inequality, all right? Which means what? If you have 2 sides equal, one side is not equal to the other side, then what do? This is bigger than this. So you look opposite. So this angle right there is going to be what compared to this angle right here? This one's going to be bigger than this one. Why? Because it's opposite the bigger side. All right? It's as easy as that. So let's see what they do. They say CBD. But CBD is this one, isn't it? So what is this side compared to this side? It's less than. So that's why we put less than. All right? I very well, on the test, could switch it up. All right? Almost for sure they're going to be different numbers. Okay, but I could switch up which one is bigger, which one is less than. So don't just memorize this as being less than. Not a good idea. All right, just giving you helpful hints here. All right, we got one more, and we got like 1 more minute, so perfect timing. Let's get rid of these right here. Okay, let's do this one. AD is 10. DC is 10. Angle ADB, that's this one right here. That's 75 degrees. And BDC, that's this one right here. That's 72 degrees. Whoops, looks like a 0. Make it degrees, okay? Now this is side angle side inequality because the angles are unequal. Look, this one is bigger than this one. So what do we know about the sides? They want to compare AB to BC. So that means if this side is opposite the bigger angle, this has got to be the what? The bigger side. So AD or AB has to be what? Greater than BC. So this is the bigger side. This is the smaller side. Okay, so AB is greater than BC. Again, on the test, I could, not saying I will, I could mix them up and say BC first and then AB. So what would you write for this? BC would be what? Less than AB. So make sure that you read it properly. You see which one is the bigger one, which one is the smaller one. Look at that. Perfect timing, right at the bell. Be ready for the test tomorrow, please.